It's Kelly Clarkson here to talk all things Wayfair, the best place to buy furniture, decor, and anything else you can think of to create a home you absolutely love. I know when I shop with Wayfair, I find options for every style, whether I'm feeling boho or farmhouse, modern, traditional, French country. I can find exactly what I need for my home and more. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop Wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
89% of business leaders say AI is a top priority. But with AI tools popping up everywhere, how do you separate the helpful from the hype? The right choice is crucial, which is why teams at 1/3 of Fortune 500 companies use Grammarly. With over 15 years of experience building responsible, secure AI, Grammarly isn't just another AI communication assistant. It's how companies like yours increase productivity while keeping data protected and private. Designed to fit the needs of business, Grammarly is backed by a user-first privacy policy and industry-leading security credentials. This means you won't have to worry about the safety of your company information. Grammarly also emphasizes responsible AI, so your company can avoid harmful bias. See why 70,000 teams and 30 million people trust Grammarly at Grammarly.com/enterprise. That's Grammarly.com/enterprise. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get-started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. Order today at PureSoapFlakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes, the abduction, sexual trafficking, and cannibalization of our children. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down, shining a light on the root cause of these crimes and introducing a spiritual solution. Justice will be served. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions2, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
All right, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can get a hold of me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting through my website, emailrevealer.com. You can go there, get an autographed copy of my book as well, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. If you enjoyed today's show, check out OppermanReport.com. That's where we have our members section with exclusive content. And also, if you want to hear our archives, you go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Check out Opperman Report. You'll follow the show for free. Get an email notification every time there's a live show. There's a chat room. And our guest today, for instance, right? Our guest today is Kent Bain, S.K. Bain, and we did a previous show with him, one about the book he just came out with, Blackjack, the dawning of the new great age of Satan. And also, too, we had him on a few years back about his previous book about the most dangerous book in the world, 9/11 and Occult Ritual. So you can, listen to today's show and then go back and listen to the archives. Mr. Bain, are you there?
I'm here. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, it really is, man. Thank you so much for coming back on such short notice. Remind the audience, though. Tell them, who is Kent Bain?
I'm the former art director for the Weekly Standard magazine in Washington, D.C., and currently writing books about conspiracy theories, including 9/11 and JFK assassination and other subjects.
So now this book here, Blackjack, the dawning of the new great age of Satan. I have a couple of questions for you. One is, what is your faith, your religious background, and how do you define Satan?
Well, that's a really good question. I'll answer it in reverse order. And I don't have a fantastic definition for faith. I think that it's something that should inform every aspect of our lives. I think it's, and an individual should select a faith that meets them where they are in their life's journey and their understanding of why we're here and what we're here for. I grew up in the Christian faith and in the essentially the buckle of the Bible Belt. So that's was my primary exposure to religion for the first 3 or 4 decades of my life. But then, at some point we looked beyond where we started and looked to broaden our horizons and benefit and be informed by other religious traditions and a broader range of worldviews. So that's where I am at the moment.
And how do you define Satan?
I think it's different for different cultures, different peoples. I would define it as an activity that informs our daily routines, our views, our attitudes, our actions. It should be fundamental to everything that we do. I think that's in theory, not necessarily in practice. Certainly isn't with me. I don't live up to those standards that I've set for myself. But that may not be a terribly useful definition for anybody else. But that's the way I view things.
Now, there is many references in this book, Blackjack, the dawning of the new great age of Satan. There's many references to scripture in the Bible. You talk about Revelation chapter 9 and other places here as well. Do you base how much study have you done into the Bible?
Well, I've done a good bit of study in the Bible, and then the end times prophecies in particular,
Right.
Book of Revelation. I'm not a religious fundamentalist by any stretch of the imagination, and I don't think that those books, Revelation, John in particular, were ever intended to be taken literally. I think that, you can get into a lot of trouble when you try to interpret Scripture literally in many instances. And Blackjack is not a doomsday prophecy. It's not based on biblical revelation. It's not based on Scripture. I refer to it, but the Blackjack is certainly not a religious screed.
And for people that are coming in the middle of this and they didn't catch the previous interview we just did, can you give us an overview on Blackjack, the dawning of the new great age of Satan? Because you talk about a coming new age, right?
I do. And there are the individual ages, Aquarius, Pisces, and so forth. The great age is approximately 26,000 years in length and composed of the sub-ages or the zodiacal ages. There's some debate about the exact length, but you generally see or hear 26,000 years is the length of the age. And we are approaching a time of reset, the alpha and the omega point, when the current age will terminate and the new great age will begin. And I draw from a number of different sources and traditions to make that argument. And then I go on in the book to show how that's been encoded and foreshadowed by the cryptocracy, the elite, for centuries, and is in fact this looming date at the end of 2021 and 2022 is encoded in the street layout, the architecture, the relationships in the streets of our nation's capital. And that is the big picture. Of course, I go into a lot of detail on the individual elements and different events that I contend have pointed in this direction for centuries, have been staged to welcome in, to usher in the new great age as it dawns in 2022, and further to dedicate this new age to the god of the elite, Lucifer.
And so when this new age comes into effect, what will life be like for the average person?
Well, it all depends on what our overseers have planned for that particular date. I make an argument what might be on the horizon for us, what they could have planned. None of us can claim to know what they're going to do in advance because they are extremely creative and 3 steps ahead of us at all times. But I paint a possible scenario in the book, and whether there's some sort of major triggering events, which there could be, in conjunction with the shift of the ages. One can make the argument that you don't actually need it, that we are hurtling headlong so fast into social, a global socialist dictatorship and, a hot new world order that we really don't need another 9/11. We don't need an American Hiroshima, the next 9/11 to trigger the full-blown onset arrival of the global control state. That there's tremendous progress being made towards that right now. Don't need another push towards that. On the other hand, we know that the cryptocracy plans and orchestrates significant events, false flags, staged events, mass rituals on astrologically auspicious occasions. And you could certainly make the case, and I do in the book, that this upcoming transition of the ages is, in fact, a once in 26,000 year event. And knowing, observing, studying the long tradition of false flags that have been staged in the United States and around the world, it seems unlikely that they would let such a momentous occasion pass without marking it through some mass sacrificial ritual that would then also serve as the inauguration or serve to inaugurate the full-blown New World Order. But so life life is changing rapidly for all of us. Will continue to change, and not in a way I think that's advantageous to the average human being. Could there be a substantial shift at this time that is brought about by some type of human-caused cataclysmic event, whether it's nuclear, biological? It remains to be seen, but there could be, in fact, life could look quite different as we move into the new great age of Satan.
Now, if I understand correctly, you're pointing to signs of a cyclical change, a great change every 26,000 years, roughly, and then a more subtle change every 2,000 years. Am I correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. Then can you point to signs in history? Can you give us examples in history that would...
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were ever going to get any money back. And then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/audio.
In case we haven't met, I'm Dino Colombo. I represent people hurt by a truck. It's what we do every day. Trucking companies and their insurance carriers are already working against you, but we've got your back. Hurt by a truck? Call Colombo Law.
Okay, this.
The examples of the late marking the transition from one individual age to another, or the shift of the ages, so to speak.
Well, either or both, that we can see, examples of your theory.
Yeah, absolutely. I would contend, and I make the case in the book, that this knowledge of this shift of the ages, the precession of the equinoxes, it's well established. That goes back into antiquity. The matter of when the Great Age began and when it will end has been the subject of much speculation over the centuries. What we should understand is it begins and ends when the elite, when the Cryptocracy, when they believe it and say that it is over, and then the new one beginning. That's all that matters is what's on their calendar. And I give a number of examples of how they've encoded the coming date 2021, 2022 in a lot of different places over an extended period of time. The most prominent, I think the most profound place that they've written this on the wall is in the most powerful city in the world, Washington, D.C., in a whole series of symbols and relationships, layouts in the street design of Washington, D.C. And, I have to get into the symbology, numerology, and so forth in the text to really make that argument. But the overall picture is that there is there are a whole series of overlapping, reinforcing ways in which this date has been stamped into our nation's capital. Prophecy written in stone, if you will, that you can, if you know the language, the symbology, you can read it, you can come to the same conclusion that I did, and that not only is Washington, D.C. A star map like many other capitals in Western civilizations, Western countries and Eastern countries across eons, it's a star map that points to a very specific point in time, and that time is less than 2 years away. So the architecture of this event is mirrored in the architecture of the Washington, D.C., the timing, the astrological symbols involved. It's written and contained in a lot of instances, literally in the layout and in the buildings themselves. And it takes me many chapters to fully lay it out and pull out all the elements and then weave it together so that the reader can understand the coherent statement that's being made and repeated all over the Capitol. But that's the general overview.
Can you give me an example that would jump out at me that I would recognize right away?
Well, the numerology associated with this countdown is striking. I write about a calendar that the elite are using. It actually was devised by Elizabethan astrologer John Dee, and it is represented in the in a number of different ways. Really, there's no one specific instance example that I can point to and say this is going to absolutely convince you of my argument. And the numbers, the symbols, a lot of this stuff is somewhat tedious to read about. I had to do as little as possible of getting into the numbers and exactly what they mean, but trying to paint a picture verbally of the whole scenario is challenging, and it's one of the things that I struggled with in the book. And so to try to explain it in a short radio interview, I think it would be kind of tedious, and so that doesn't give you a good answer. But I would just encourage you to readers to explore the book and see if they in fact agree with my conclusions.
Now, also too, I'm about to, I don't know if you're aware of this. You're probably not. I don't know how you would be. Okay. But the work of Maury Terry, you have in here in chapter 16 and chapter 17 references to David Berkowitz and the Son of Sam cult in New York City, the Protestant Church, all that kind of stuff like that, and his occult involvement and stuff like that. Now, the work of Maury Terry has been turned over to some documentary filmmakers in the past year or so. Are you aware of this?
I'm familiar with Terry's work. Yeah. I wasn't familiar with the fact that it was had been turned over to documentarians.
They got a hold of all his work, and they're about to do a whole TV series about this. So, and I've been in contact with them and stuff like that, trying to point in different directions and stuff like that. Now, can you tell us what your research here has concluded into these rituals, these ritual sacrifices? Like you got here a picture of the Wicker Man, which terrified me when I first watched that movie as a kid. You just saw the reality of it. the old black and white version. That's the one you got to watch. You know what I mean? What have you discovered with these these public rituals and these private rituals that they're doing, these blood sacrifices that they're doing?
Yeah, if you can accept the idea that knowledge of the coming shift of the ages extends back to the founding of our country and beyond, then it's encoded in the capital of the free world, then to find that there would be foreshadowing, predictive programming in events in the intervening 225 years leading from the founding of America up to this shift, it wouldn't be terribly surprising, looking at that broader context and the stretch of history there, if the conspiracy is as old and as deep as I'm asserting, to find some symbolism and perhaps calendrical information woven in to false flags, staged events in those intervening years, meaning that some of the things that, some of the events, known false flags or other, for instance, mass killings, mass shootings in the last 50 years in particular, it shouldn't be too surprising to find that there was what we could call galactic alignment symbolism when the or foreknowledge of the shift of the ages. And in the case of Son of Sam in particular, if you look at some of his letters and some of his drawings, dates involved, some of the locations, there's a lot of markers there that you could make an argument, and I do, that is one of a precursor ritual that is in its own event unto itself with its own purpose and objectives in the short term, but then it is also a marker on the ladder on the way leading up to the shift of the ages. And in fact, I think that this is the case with multiple false flags that have been staged over the years, that you can look through them look at them with a new lens and see clues that are pointing in the same direction, that are pointing towards this, mother of all auspicious occasions coming up in just a very short period of time. And look for the specific symbolic markers and indicators. And as a matter of fact, you see that same thing, looking backwards to a previous false flag, looking forward, foreshadowing a coming false flag. When you look at the architecture of false flag events and staged terror events, you see a lot of times that there are references backwards, forwards to related events, whether it's connections through names, numbers, places. And once you identify that language and you can see that, you see sort of a networking effect. And I think we see that on the larger scale with this impending date of utmost importance that's been on the occult calendar, the focus of their attention for generations. I think you can see sort of a chain of events, precursor rituals leading up, pointing to the shift of the Great Age.
Why don't you give us an explanation of what a false flag is, and if you could point to some examples?
Sure. 9/11, I think, would be the event, the most recent false flag that people would be most familiar with. It's when governments or factions within governments stage terror on their own populations for their own purposes or ends, political and otherwise. They're ostensibly designed for use overseas against foreign populations, but you can certainly see a clear pattern where false flag operations and psychological warfare have been used on the American populace by the deep state or the shadow government or however you'd like to refer to it. 9/11 was a massive false flag that had many objectives, and a lot of which have been realized.
Besides 9/11, the World Trade Center towers, which I think everybody can agree, there's a lot of shady business going on there. It just makes no sense. And like you said, too, and even if you look at the work of William Ramsey, we discussed last time as well, it seemed to be this ritual sacrifice of 3,000 lives was in the planning for a long time before the structures of the building, the foundation of the buildings were built. But can you give us examples of other scenarios like that, false flags?
Absolutely. Oklahoma City bombing, Timothy McVeigh, there are really, I mean, you see them on an increasingly frequent basis. Waco, going back to the 70s and the 80s, and then moving forward. I think that there are a list of false flag staged events that most people are fairly familiar with, but in the last 5 or 10 years, I've observed that they've become somewhat more subtle, less obvious, more sophisticated, still involving destruction of property and loss of lives. But the orchestrators seem to be evolving their staged events, and they're more nuanced and more sophisticated in general.
Okay, let's take a little commercial break. We're here with Kent Bain, S.K. Bain. The book we're talking about today is called Blackjack, The Dawning of the New Age of Satan. But he's been on the show previously to talk about this book here just recently. But also, too, if you go back into our archives on Spreaker, you can check out our first interview we did. I think it was a 2-hour interview. The most dangerous book in the world, 9/11 as a ritual. What was 9/11 as a ritual sacrifice, right?
9/11 is a mass ritual.
9/11 as a mass ritual, but it was a sacrifice too. Okay, we'll be right back with more.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with more of Kent Bain right after these messages.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send you a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes, the abduction, sexual trafficking, and cannibalization of our children. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down, shining a light on the root cause of these crimes and introducing a spiritual solution. Justice will be served. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Kent Bain. The book is written under the name S.K. Bain. You can find him here. The book is called Blackjack, The Dawning of the New Age, the New Great Age of Satan. Kent, do you have a website?
I have a blog site. It's the most dangerous blog in the world.
The most dangerous blog in the world, right? That's one of those questions I'm supposed to ask before we do the show. Before we start the interview. But we just did an interview just recently. People can go back and look at our previous interview here on Spreaker.com and find it. Now, Kent, in chapter 21, right, because your whole theory here points to the date of 2020, 2021, which is right around the elections, the re-election, right? And chapter 31 is trumped up. I focused on Mr. President Donald Trump. What have you concluded there?
Well, in looking at the symbology and the memes leading up to the end of the age, I think that some of it is a joke that's being played on us, and I think you could make the argument that Trump himself, in addition to being a figure that's loved by some, hated far and wide by others, that he is in fact a type of a meme that plays off the idea of the biblical Trump, final trumpet, and also the Trump cards, specifically the world, the card that is labeled the world, that connotes shifting of the ages and the end of the world. And so you find, if you study false flags, you invariably encounter the dark, sadistic humor and of the elite, and there are numerous examples of that that I detail in the book. But there's this black humor, and the memes. Meme is a relatively new concept, but that the concept in general they've employed that to great effect over whole histories of historical false flags and staged events and manipulated events. And I make the argument that the figure of Trump, named Trump, captures these things, it connotes them, and is in itself sort of a global societal meme that hints at what is to come at the transition of the ages.
Now, do you think is Trump in on the joke, or is he like an unwitting dupe in what's going on?
That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer. You can view all the world leaders, elected politicians, and the people that we're familiar with as actors on a stage. You can make the case that in our news and political cast, they're all just playing roles, whether wittingly or unwittingly, that everything's being manipulated from behind the scenes. And, so he's a New York billionaire developer. He could certainly be part of the inner circle but then he could just be being Donald Trump and is useful just as a figure that they've placed in that position this particular time. I think you can make an argument that the last 5 or 6 presidents at least were not elected but rather installed. So if you could if you kind of buy the idea that the kingmakers put whoever they want in at whatever time for whatever reason serve them best, you might buy the idea that Donald Trump is a mega meme, but you don't buy the idea that at least there's some funny pictures in the book that go along with the story.
Yeah, exactly. And even that Simpsons cartoon of him coming down there's a lot of stuff in the Simpsons about all this, now.
Yeah.
Now, and now Trump, is he a dupe or is he in on it, right? But then you got to figure he's so close to Giuliani, right? Giuliani has to know what happened at 9/11. He's not that stupid. But I could tell you something else about Giuliani, because I've met him, or I've met Giuliani many times in social circumstances, and also we worked on the other side of it during those old commission and organized crime cases back in the 80s when I was on the defense and he was in the prosecution. But also, too, later on when he was running for mayor and stuff like that. And I could tell you, or at least at that time, in the 80s when he was running for mayor, if I would have said to Rudy Giuliani, hey, Rudy, what do you know about this occult stuff? And he would have no clue what I'm talking about. And he would say, what are you talking about? I'm a Catholic. I went to St. Stephen's. What are you talking about? That would be his simple thinking. Okay. Now, but Giuliani would know what's going on with 9/11, so he would have to tell Trump. Well, what do you make of all
that? Well, it's similar to the case with Trump. It would be so hard for us to really know what he knows, how privy he is to the elite insiders thinking, those that truly control the levers of power, how much they tell him. I mean, they operate, in a lot of instances on a need-to-know basis, and very few people actually see the big picture. That's how, most conspiracies are constructed. And so, did Giuliani have some foreknowledge of 9/11, or was he complicit at least in some way with the cover of 9/11? I think you can make that case. Is he, a baby eating, occult, high priest? Probably not. But I think in the elite circles, you've got true believers, practicing, believing Luciferians, and then you've got a whole group of tag-alongs and flunkies that are just along for the ride. They don't really believe that stuff. They just enjoy the benefits that are derived from engaging in cult ritual practice. And really, it's tied to, I guess you could call it psychopathy. People willing to do anything to advance their own interests. They'll stomp all over their opponents and average, the general public in order to consolidate their power, advance their interests, make more and more money. And so I think it would be hard to judge in any particular instance whether it's Trump, Giuliani, George Bush Jr., Sr., who exactly is steeped in the occult, or the ones that are at the altar with the long dagger, actually sacrificing human beings, versus just they just are engaging in activities that advance their own power and influence. So there are, of course, conspiracy theories about all of those figures and them being involved in anything from ritual human sacrifice to human trafficking. There's just drug peddling, and on down the list. But being able to really determine who's into what and how much they know and how central they are and how close they are to the inner circle, that's way above my pay grade. And I think it's really hard to know those kinds of things without doing a tremendous amount of study and or getting killed.
Mm-hmm. And is it really worth the effort? What do we really resolve from doing that? Now,
yeah, because what are you going to do about it?
Right, exactly.
Well, if you do hit the nail on the head, if anybody would listen to you, you're probably going to end up in a dumpster, and more than likely, you don't have, the average person, of course, doesn't have an audience, doesn't have a platform. They don't care, which of us peons know what they're doing, as long as we don't shed too much light on what they're actually doing.
And it seems also too that there's a lot of well-funded, supported, and promoted cranks, crackpots out there. You know what I mean? With huge YouTube followings and huge Twitter followings, babbling all kind of crazy nonsense 24/7, so that anybody who
the disinfo and misinfo.
Exactly. Now, Kent, we're coming to the end, right? With 2020 is right around the corner. 2021 is right around the corner. What signs should we be looking for when we get up every morning, we turn on the TV, or we open up the newspaper?
Well, I would say that we are seeing those signs. We are being herded towards the slaughterhouse at an ever increasing rate. I mean, you look at which the pace of so many different areas of life being accelerated, condensed, compressed. We're being pushed harder and harder psychologically. We're being pushed financially. Our social structures are breaking down. Traditional social structures, you could make the argument that they're being replaced by other things, but there's such massive change right now. It seems to be accelerating to such an extent that you wonder if there is something just on the horizon that we are being pushed towards, if there is going to be a culmination to all of this, or if it'll just continue in perpetuity and, we'll either destroy ourselves as a species or we'll be transformed into some sort of AI gods that live forever and then go out and explore the universe. I think that, I was saying earlier, if I'm correct about this specific occasion and what it represents, then we might expect some sort of corresponding horrendous mass ritual, mass sacrifice. But then again, on the flip side, the end game is being implemented with such effectiveness. Our push towards this new world order, to use a somewhat cliched term, is going so well, so unimpeded, that they have such all-pervasive control over every single aspect of this multi-pronged attack on humanity that you might not need another trigger. But that doesn't mean they won't just celebrate, kill a bunch of people, and then go right back to what they're doing. I think that just have to wait until that specific time and see if they decide to do anything or not, or if I'm right about how important it is to them in general. But we see an acceleration of tyranny, a ratcheting up of all the mechanisms of control. They're becoming ever more technologically sophisticated, and then we've got this event that I contend is on the horizon, and that's what we're being pushed towards, and that would be the perfect occasion to push us over into into full global tyranny.
Yeah, and one area that's not covered in the book at all is the rise of these smartphones, these smart devices in our hands 24/7 that have, in the past short period of time, not even 10 years, have overtaken society. Just imagine if the addiction we have to these devices, if this were to be somehow threatened, people would be going through withdrawals. God knows what would happen. Now, how come you didn't include that? Did you consider that when you were writing the book?
I did, and that
book in itself.
I'm reading more and more on that subject, and the use of HD TV and all of these devices being able to have carrier signals that are ride piggyback on them that control us subconsciously in a myriad of ways. And that's the case with the newer light bulbs, light fixtures. I was listening to a program the other day, and they were talking about the use of subsonic frequencies that allow computers and electronic devices in your house to talk to each other. It's even that's sort of the hidden Internet of Things that's already in place, and then all of this data gets aggregated. So I think you're right. Smartphones are probably the most dominant feature and we have them with us 24 hours a day. But then you've got all of these other technologies, including the rollout of 5G that's being implemented right now, that could take this to a whole new level. And that's another interesting sort of coincidence, or perhaps not a coincidence, that this technology is being rolled out in this precise time frame, and that the 5G technology would be precisely what is needed to implement a whole new set of technological controls and influencing technologies, very, very sophisticated technologies. And so there seems to be a convergence here between, if you look at it as prophecy, look at it as, and then also the progression towards global tyranny, and then also the technological means that can be harnessed to make all of this come together and just turn us into a bunch of automated robots. I mean, so there seems to be this real heavy push right now towards something that, I think a lot of people's gut tells them is in the immediate future. And if we're wrong, forces of light arrive from heaven on winged horses, and everything turns around, and nothing in blackjack is correct. I'll be as happy as anybody else.
Yeah,
but I think we look like we're being prepared for the slaughterhouse.
The best we can hope for is you're wrong. Oh my God.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. That's, what we're hoping for. Now, another thing too, in that whole soup, we were just talking about that stew of, antidepressants and medications they're giving us, but also to the sudden legalization of marijuana, this high potency strain of marijuana in everything. Cookies, CBD, dabs, all this nonsense, and you have to show your license or your driver's license when you buy something, so they know exactly when you're buying it. They can lock you up for driving under the influence, all kind of stuff like that, coming down in the future. But also too, if they cut us off from the supply, people would go nuts overnight.
All right, so you're saying if they cut off the cannabis and the 5G and our smartphones at the same time, everybody would just collapse, the New World Order would be here at that very moment.
Actually, I would take over because I don't use any of those things. Okay, I mean, I would be trying to take over. Now, a couple of quick questions.
I've got a flip phone. I bought a smartphone and traded back in for the same flip phone that I'd had for 10 years before that.
Yeah, rarely if I need a phone, I'll get a burner phone. I'll use it for a week and I'll throw it away. Now, otherwise, I don't fall for that stuff. Now, a couple of questions. Are there signs? Did I ask you this? Are there signs we should be looking for? Oh, no. In your study here, can you predict a season or a time of the year when this event would take place?
Yeah, and I do make the argument that this not only do we know the year that this transition will occur, but that you can narrow it down even further to the December solstice in the year 2021. But that's not to say that is a precise moment of transition. That's not to say that we know that of anything that will happen on that day, that even if the Cryptocracy has something planned for this momentous event, that it's going to occur on that precise day. That is a very significant day. I get into all of what it's about in one of the earlier chapters, but yeah, I mean, you can get pretty specific in looking at one or two or three specific dates that they might choose to execute some grand attack on humanity That doesn't mean they'll do it then. That doesn't, and again, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do anything, because they, almost above anything else, they pride themselves in being unpredictable, and nobody has yet predicted the next 9/11 or even a future false flag. They are so far out in front of where the average citizen is. You literally can't follow what they're doing closely enough to catch them at something before they do it. Not that I haven't tried unsuccessfully several times, but I think you can engage in some interesting thought exercises about, okay, what would a future attack look like? What symbols might be involved? Where might it take place? What would be the practical effects on every facet of our culture, from civil liberties to military industrial complex. You can think all those things out, and what would occur as a result of the next attack. But the likelihood of you actually picking it and then it occurring is infinitesimally small.
I actually recall one of those old black and white movie TV shows. I think it was with Orson Welles, where he actually pointed to the date of December 2021 as an apocalyptic type date. So maybe it's just my imagination. Really? I think so. Yeah. I'm
going to Google that.
Yeah, check it out.
That piques my interest.
Yeah. Now,
well, I do think there are a number of pretty substantial instances of predictive programming that reinforce my interpretation, and that I feel like help build a case for what I'm arguing here. And they're what you would expect. They're popular culture, movies, in some instances. They're the kinds of things that we saw. You could look back after 9/11 and look at instances of predictive programming. There's some things in place that could be corroborating what my contention is, but that remains to be seen whether I've connected the dots correctly or just drawn some random picture.
Well, we are out of time, and we'll have to leave it there. How can people get a hold if they want to talk to Kent Bain, or they want to get a hold of your book or read your blog?
The most dangerous blog in the world, and my email is skbain68@gmail.com.
Kent Bain, thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad you're willing to come back and give me a second hour here to kind of flesh this out. I really appreciate that, okay, man? And next book comes out, you give me a call, we'll put you right back on the air.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kent. Good night. Okay, there we had Kent Bain. The book is under S.K. Bain, and it's called Blackjack, The Dawning of the New Age, the New Great Age of Satan. And I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. My glasses got stuck underneath the headphones. So I can't read this so well. But Kent Bain, thank you so much. We had him on previously. You can check him out on Spreaker there when we did a show about 9/11 as an occult ritual, the most dangerous book in the world. Good old Kent Bain. We're friends on Facebook, so I talked to him quite a bit. Thank you so much, Kent Bain.
emailrevealer.com. People ask me all the time, hey, Ed, are you still a private investigator? I sure am. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, where you give us your spouse's email address. We trace it back to online dating websites, catch them cheating online. Email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat. Locate his hidden assets. Locate his hidden bank accounts. Find his current place of employment and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com, digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages, create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762. OppermanReport.com. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like the work that you see us doing here at Opperman Report? You can support that work by becoming a member at OppermanReport.com. And as you have access to over 200 exclusive shows and interviews that you can't find on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeart or iTunes or KYAH. You can't find them anywhere else online, exclusive to our member sections, to our members. Also, too, there's images, videos, documents, court docs, a lot of content there at OppermanReport.com. And it's the memberships that support the Opperman Report and allow us to play these shows for free on Friday nights and Saturday nights on all the stations you hear us on. You can also make a donation at OppermanReport.com. If you want to support the show and become a member, I can give you a discount. I'll give you 13 months for $65 if you email me directly at OppermanReport@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can hear your ad played here on the Opperman Report, reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis because the show is repeated every day all over the world. Contact me at OppermanReport@gmail.com and I'll give you a good deal on advertising rates.
Are you ready to change your life but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.